Hey folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. I have a video today that occasionally I get people asking questions about this, whether it's through emails or comments in the comment section or on live feeds. And I've kind of been putting it off on just making this video. Um, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I don't really have a good reason why I've put it off, but anyways, in its suggested books, um, I think maybe the reason why I've put it off is I don't want people to think that, somehow I have this great knowledge on which book to buy. Um, there's many out there that I don't have that I'm sure are great books, but I do have a pretty decent little library when it comes to homesteading and prepping and survival and first aid and all that kind of stuff. Because as a prepper, a good library is really important. We cannot depend upon technology um, to be able to go look up, something when we need to find information. The technology may not always be there, or it may become so invasive and controlling that it's just no longer safe for us to be on it. So I am going to give you some books that I use often, that I feel are very good. These are just suggestions. Like I said, there's a lot of them. I will leave some links in the description below. These are affiliate links. Well, most of them are. And I get a very tiny, I think it's like 2% on these Amazon links. It's not much on most of these books, 1 or 2%. So, but you don't have to buy them through there. Don't feel bad or don't think I'm going to feel bad. If you want to buy one and you don't use my links, that's fine. I'm just putting them there so that and it doesn't cost you anymore if you purchase through my links. Anyways, the first one is one that I've been promoting over on YouTube because I do think it's a really good book. And it's called The Complete Medicinal Herbal. This is a kind of all-encompassing herbal medicine type guidebook. It's very easy to read, good pictures, simple kind of cuts to the chase. It's that there's over 200 or over 100 different herbs that's listed in here. Some of these are what you would find grown locally. Some of them are what you would have to order from other countries. And then it has in the back the different things, how to make stuff. If you have certain illnesses or something, what herbs to use to kind of cure that. So that is a really good book to kind of get you started on. The next one is a homesteading book. It's a relatively new one. Most of my homesteading books are actually kind of old. A lot of them are from back in the back to the land movement and stuff in the 70s and 80s. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But this is a newer one. And we picked this up not too long ago and actually really like it. It's called The Backyard Homestead by Carolyn Madigan. I don't know much about the author, but I can tell you that it covers pretty much all the basics. Maybe not as detailed, like really deeply detailed, but it's a good beginner, kind of covers everything from animals to gardening to herbs, butchering, collecting your seeds, all that kind of stuff. It's a good beginner book, and good for, like it says, backyard homesteader. Now, if you're running a 50 to 100 acre farm, maybe this doesn't cover enough. But if you're just doing something small to be a little bit more self-sufficient, I think it's a pretty good book. The next one is one of two books that I use, and the other book I don't have with me right now. These are Peterson field guides. There's a few different field guides out on the market that's been around for years. My personal favorites, though, are Peterson's. I think they're the best. This one is for wild edible plants. There's a lot of pictures in there and a lot of sketches on the different plants in North America, and this is Eastern and Central North America, that are edible. There's also another Peterson's field guide similar to this that is on medicinal plants. And that particular book, I take it everywhere. That's my most used book because usually if I come across a plant, that I'm curious about, that I might think that it's medicinal, or just wondering about it, I can find it in the Peterson's books. And so I would suggest, if you want to do anything with herbs or edible plants, the Peterson's Field Guides, because these identify them. And that's the most important thing. You've got to begin there, because that's the dangerous part. If you don't identify the plant right, you could make yourself sick or even kill yourself if you use it for medicine or consume it in any way. So you need good field guides, good identification books, and these I think are the best. And there's others out there that are really good, but I like those. These next books are just 2 of an entire series. I didn't pull them all out because I got a whole stack of them. These have been around for a long time. They've been out of print for a while, but I think someone is reprinting them. But you can find them used, and that's the Foxfire books. If you don't know what the Foxfires are, these again come out of the Back to the Land movement and stuff of the 80s, of college students going up into the Appalachian Mountains and interviewing old folks that lived up there and were still living the ways that people were 100 plus years ago. And so this is a newer one. It's the same thing, it's just a reprint. And I have them all, and they're becoming harder and harder to come by. Sometimes you can find them on eBay, or you can find them sometimes at thrift stores. I've been able to find 1 or 2 at a thrift store. I highly suggest you get these if you can. There is just so much in them. You know, for instance, this one, fiddle making, how to build spring houses, horse trading, sassafras tea, berry buckets, gardening, you know, wild spring plant foods, spinning and weaving, midwife, burial customs, corn shucking, wagon making, plain living. They're really good, and they're very interesting to read also. So I would look for the Foxfire books. They're really good. Another one is I did bring another. Here's another Foxfire. Thought I only grabbed a couple of them. Another book is herbal. A lot of these are herbal. This one is especially made for women. This is from Rosemary Gladstar. She is considered one of the most respected herbalists in the country today, especially when it comes to women's health. This is a great book on anything to do with women's health and herbs that you can use to try to treat those. So that's a good book right there. Next couple of books are by the same author, who has a lot of different books, and it's Stephen Herod Buhner. This guy is another highly, highly respected herbalist. If you're just getting started out in herbs, this guy, anything that's got his name on it, I would suggest getting and reading. This one is Herbal Antivirals, and then he's got another one that's just like this, but it's Herbal Bacteria. And it's natural remedies for viral infections and then natural remedies for bacterial infections. Very good books by Stephen Herod Buhner. Next book is also by Stephen Herod Buhner, but this one is the Home Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine. This is another one of those good, all-encompassing type of books. This one I actually found at a thrift store for like 50 cents, I think, or $1. I don't know. Wasn't very much. I couldn't believe it that I found it. But this is a good one. Most any illnesses that you will come across is in something like this, and it tells you how to treat it, how to mix things up. Has more than 200 make-at-home remedies. Again, this guy is one of the best. He's one of the ones that I really trust, you know, what he says. All right, now we're getting to our old homesteading book. This one, I think, is most of you probably know, are going to recognize it. I'd say that probably a lot of homesteaders, this may be their first book. This book has probably encouraged more people to do more of the homesteading, self-sufficient living than probably any other book out there. And this is one of the original printings. Back to the Basics, or Back to Basics. It was a Reader's Digest book. And I can't remember. This is from, I believe, the 70s. This is from 81. This is the second printing, this book. Now I believe it's still in print. It's had many revisions, and I have owned, I don't know how many of these books. I usually end up giving them away. If I find them pretty cheap, I buy them, and then I end up giving them to people that are kind of just starting out on the self-sufficient journey. If you don't have this, I suggest getting it. Like I said, they have many different printings, and honestly, it doesn't matter which one you get. It's really good. It covers a lot of different subjects, not in very great detail, but certainly enough to get you started. The last book I'm going to mention today, for those of you that are old-time preppers and survivalists, and I guess I would say anyone that would, how you would fall in that category. If you were prepping or doing survival stuff, or, you know, conspiracy theory and end times and all that, before Y2K, then you probably old school. And if you were falling into that category, you probably know who these people are. The Deos. Holly Deo. This obviously is not the book. It's in a binder, but it is a good example of how, or it shows you how much I've used this book. It's a really big book, and I've used it so much that it fell apart, and I punched holes in it, and I put it into a big 3-ring binder. It's called Dare to Prepare. I've contacted them before. I've talked to them. This is the second edition, and they've revised this several times since then. And I keep telling myself I'm going to get a newer edition. But for prepping, the other stuff mostly is homesteading and herbal medicine and that kind of stuff. But for actual prepping, I would consider this the Prepper's Bible. I actually made a video on this very early on this channel, going into detail about this, and I probably should make another one on it. But I'm telling you, this thing covers everything. Water purification, food storage, how to figure it. There's all kinds of charts in here. I don't know how well you can see this with the sun. It may bleed it out. But anyways, this thing covers every different type of preparedness situation and scenario. I have no idea what the new ones cost. I'm going to guess probably around $30 because it's a big book. But I believe it's worth it. I will try to find a link to it because I don't believe it's sold on Amazon or anything like that. I think you have to buy it directly through them. And I will try to find that link and put it up for you. But I would strongly suggest getting that book. It really covers a lot of detail. The amount of research that they put into that, it's just, I think, astronomical. When I first got the book years ago, and I said, in fact, when I first got it years ago, I didn't even look at it at first. I just bought it, and it kind of sat somewhere on a shelf, and for a few months, and then finally I pulled it out one day and I started going through it, and it just kind of blew me away, the amount of information that's in that book. Dare to Prepare. It covers a lot, and I'm not trying to get you to buy, because I'm not making anything off of this one. I don't have an affiliate link for that one, so I'm not making anything off of it. I'm genuinely telling you that as far as preparedness books, that's the one to go to. These types of books and others, these are just good examples. And mostly people have been asking about herb books, because there are a lot of people that watch me know that I'm big into herbal medicine. I push it a lot. It's crazy to me that most preppers aren't. Most of the preppers I've talked to tell me, oh, that's kind of a woman thing, and that's absolutely ridiculous. In fact, back in the day, most of your herbalists were men. And so if you think that herbalism is, if you don't believe in it, that's one thing. But if you think that you don't need it as a prepper, I think that's just ridiculous. You can't stock up on all the medication that you'll ever need, or know all the medication that you'll ever need. And while herbal medicine may not cover every medication, it covers most of it. And so you really need to know what grows around you, what it can be used for, what's edible. I mean, humans have done that for thousands of years. Only until recently have we, invented this thing called pharmaceutical medicine. So I think that's everything that I have today. If you have any questions on any books, go ahead and ask in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. All right, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.